Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really critical spot on the map, Taiwan. You often hear it called the most dangerous chessboard in the world. Small island, but its global significance, absolutely huge. So our mission here is to unpack what we're seeing in our sources, why Taiwan is this, thriving democracy, but also right at the center of a really tense military standoff. We want to figure out what makes it such a flashpoint, and maybe surprisingly, how the economics go way beyond the usual geopolitics. Okay, so let's jump right in. The very latest, literally the last 48 hours, China sent, 37 jets into Taiwan's air defense zone?
That's right, J-16s, H-6 bombers.
Yeah.
Pretty advanced stuff. And yeah, it's one of the biggest groups they've sent this year.
And this wasn't in a vacuum, right? It came just days after some U.S. lawmakers visited Taipei.
Exactly. And they explicitly called Taiwan an independent nation during that visit.
Which, predictably, didn't go down well in Beijing.
Not at all. Beijing's response was stark, that line. Those who play with fire will perish by it. Very chilling.
So you have that rhetoric, plus these big military moves. I mean, how do analysts tell if this is just, saber rattling or something more? What are the signs?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some experts definitely see it mostly as signaling, a strong reaction to things like that U.S. visit, posturing. But others are looking harder at the details, the specific kinds of military drills, the sheer scale of these air incursions, the buildup of amphibious forces.
Amphibious? Like for an invasion?
Well, that's the capability they're building. We're seeing U.S. Navy ships moving in the South China Sea, Japan scrambling its F-35s in response sometimes, and there's satellite imagery. It shows Chinese amphibious units training pretty intensely near Fujian.
And Fujian is how close to Taiwan?
Just 180 kilometers away. Very close.
Hmm.
So, looking at all that, some observers are genuinely concerned. They point to maybe 2025 as a potential window where China might feel capable or maybe compelled to make a more serious move.
Okay, 180 kilometers, 37 jets, stark warnings. But here's where it gets maybe even more concerning for everyone globally. This isn't just a regional military thing. Our sources point to something that makes this, frankly, terrifying on a whole different level.
Right, and it boils down to something tiny. Microchips, advanced semiconductors.
The ones in everything.
Exactly. Taiwan dominates the production. We're talking over 60% of the world's most advanced cutting-edge chips, the kinds you need for AI, for high-end computing smartphones, but also advanced weapon systems.
60%, controlled by this one island.
Precisely. So if conflict breaks out, if those factories stop, the global impact would be almost immediate. Within weeks, you could see shortages crippling everything. Phones, laptops, cars, data centers.
Wow. Not just supply chain issues, but potentially systems crashing.
It's described in some analyses as a potential blueprint for economic collapse. Add in the risk of global cyber warfare. It's a whole new kind of conflict, one fought with chips and satellites, not just traditional weapons.
Yeah, it suddenly makes those fighter jet headlines feel very different, much more personal, when you realize they're linked to the tech we literally hold in our hands.
Absolutely. The connection is direct.
So, wrapping this up,
Right.
understanding these links, the jets, the political visits, and the microchips powering, well, everything, it seems absolutely essential if you want to be properly informed about global stability right now.
It really is. And what's fascinating, maybe a final thought for you, the listener, how these seemingly separate things, a politician's trip, military drills, are so deeply tied to the technology we depend on every single day. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How ready is the world truly for this kind of interconnected conflict, where the battlefield isn't just land, sea, and air, but also the silicon heart of our modern lives?